Welcome back to a brand new Player 2 pre-review. My name is Paul James. Today I'm joined by the PopCulturist own Max Cooper. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you today?
Yeah, very good. We're taking the piss. It's a preview. Thanks to our friends at Bandai-Namco who provided some codes for us to get into the Dragon Ball betas. Dragon Ball The Breakers beta. CNT. We won't stick with that acronym too much because there's too many jokes. Thank you for that, and we're going to debrief on our experiences a little bit here. Mate, we'll just jump straight into things. What did you make of your time with it, and I guess how much have you played?
In the nature of this, it was a timed beta, so you had specific time frames of which you could play. So I've had about 4 or 5 rounds I've managed to get into. So I should begin with, this is one of those asymmetric action games, one versus many, killer versus survivor.
Dead by DBZ, as you put it.
Dead by DBZ, that's it.
Which I love and is 100% going to be the subtitle for this.
So when you boot it up, it throws you straight into the prologue, which is just essentially their tutorial. Teaches you how to play the game, explains how it works. So to escape the survivor, you're essentially trying to power up the time machine. So you need to go find power keys around the map. You set them in certain locations. It's like, hey, cool. Once you've powered it up, you can leave. That's your escape. And then obviously it adds into the mix of, hey, you're also being hunted. And once you activate these keys, big blip on the map. It's like, here I am. And it goes through the mechanics of the villain, who in this beta preview is played by Cell. Cell, I think. Yeah, Cell.
Oh, sorry, in the prologue bit. Yeah, sorry, right.
In the prologue bit, it was Cell, and he has the ability to blow up entire areas of the map. You get a big warning. You gain the ability to sprint only for that section for some reason. You can't sprint any other time.
It's trot along.
It's just like, hey, get out of the zone, and you get out, and then it goes through hopefully, and then it goes through the other ways to escape. So once a certain amount of survivors die, or get captured, you can essentially get there's like a mini time machine that you can kind of catch on and catch a ride out to freedom.
So I got the shock in the very first game that I managed to actually play. And for anyone who's on the Player 2 YouTube side, you will actually see this because I was waiting for a game for ages. Ending the video only to finally connect to a match moments later. Jump back in, hit record again, and off we went. And like I got killed beforehand. I managed to set one key, so I did my bit for the team. But I got killed in my first game there, and watched on as like I stuck it out so I could kind of see how things actually evolved at the end. And Frieza hit his 4th stage, and things were getting pretty chaotic at the end there. People had activated the time machine, but it was someone who wasn't kind of hanging on to it at the end that was still counted as being a survivor.
Okay.
Which like he couldn't get close enough at the end. He was just kind of running away from Frieza because, as you said, like there's this big neon sign that appears that says "Here I am." And I was initially watching someone who was basically holding on and trying to just survive. Didn't switch the camera over to someone else who was still kicking, and they got counted as a victor because the time machine got away, and that's it. But they weren't actually hanging on to the ship at the time.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. I also died pretty early on in most of my games. There's this weird mechanic where you essentially get the energy of like the fellow Dragon Ball Z characters, the Z Warriors, and you all of a sudden it becomes a fighting game.
But not an overly good one.
But yeah, it's a really, really poor one. It's just it felt super. I don't know if you had the same experience, but it felt super clunky.
Yep. Not just in the fighting though, but like even the platforming as you're just trying to navigate the environment.
Yeah, I found I don't know whether it was just a settings issue, but I found the camera to not be overly responsive either.
I didn't have that issue, but
that could have just been me. But because these maps are Dragon Ball Z maps, they're very multi-tiered. You can at some point you do gain the ability to fly. There are equipable abilities. There's the ability to fly. You can get teleport pods. You can get zip lines, stuff like that. But if you don't have any of those, you have to physically, like Zelda style, Breath of the Wild, climb up the side of a cliff, and you're just kind of hanging there with no way to protect yourself most times.
Yeah.
You are equipped in your base form. You are equipped with like this little pistol gun thing that you can kind of use to stun him, to stun
Despite the fact you really
the
can't aim
raider.
with it at all.
Yeah, not the yeah. There's no aiming. If you're just looking in his general direction, you might hit the
Hit him.
raider. It feels like it takes forever to actually do anything. So obviously, when you're placing the keys, it takes a good like
Oh,
10 seconds to actually place the key to revive down teammates. It's the same amount of time. And the way this differs, well, it doesn't not differs per se, but you have to activate. There's 5 areas in any given map, and you have to find the keys to all the areas to actually power up the time machine. So once an area is destroyed, it cuts off an entire area of the map for you to traverse through.
Yep.
Which can make it difficult if it's one of the middle sections of the map. You kind of got to work your way around it. There are things in the game that you can pick up to kind of help. So there are the radars, which can either find the power keys, I think is the term that they use.
Yep, yeah, the power keys.
Or Dragon Balls. Now, I never had a game where all 7 Dragon Balls were found.
No, neither have I.
So I have no idea what the wish system is. I don't know if you can just wish for victory. I'm not sure.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I unfortunately didn't get any games as the Raider itself, but I felt like the Raider was constantly overpowered compared to what the survivors could handle.
Yeah, well,
I don't
like
think...
as you said, like you kind of get imbued with this power of a Z Warrior, but really, like that Z Warrior still doesn't stack up.
Yeah,
like
so
you're really just using it as a like to fly away. Like that's your main thing. Is like you power up as with whoever's imbued powers. It really doesn't matter who it is. You just need to use that energy to escape the line of sight and then try and hide somewhere, and hope that they don't in a rage just blow up that region of the map anyway.
So I found that a lot of the survivors that were doing well in escaping all had the solar flare ability equipped because it stunned the raider.
Yeah,
blinded them, stunned them, and you could just run away. So the way you get those abilities is in the giant gacha machine, because how else are you going to get your essences? So as part of the beta, you do get 3 guaranteed tickets to get 4 and 5-star champions, which is nice. But you, as the law dictates these days, they have to show you the percentage chance of actually getting any given thing out of the gacha machine, and those rates are rough.
Do you recall?
To get a 5-star is like
unbelievably low,
1.25%.
Yeah, it's not even worth it.
It's gross.
They're gonna squeeze every cent out of you.
Yeah, so you can buy those with in-game currency, premium currency, and tickets. Like I said before, we did get a ticket for each one as part of the beta program. So there's not sure how the monetization of those premium currencies will work, as the store doesn't work. Or at least
the store's not live, obviously, because it's not the final release. But will be interesting still because it's a $30 Australian title as well out the gate, so you are paying for something in the first place, and then they're just going to nickel and dime you after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what those rates look like because of that upfront cost, I guess, remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But I think like kind of cycling back on the core point, it just doesn't clunky. Was the word you used before, and I feel like that describes every aspect of the experience so far. And I know, like having played the likes of dabbled a little bit in Dead by Daylight, or having tried a Friday the 13th and those sort of things, like they're not clean and experiences either. But for the most part, they've come from smaller teams or smaller publishers that you'd maybe expect a little bit of that with, and kind of that is kind of part of the experience as well.
Yeah,
I think not that you want to necessarily give them a pass for rough edges, but like it's kind of baked in as a part of it. Whereas here, firstly, you got the Bandai-Namco publishing and money, so there shouldn't be some of those excuses. But even then, we're talking about characters that at times are imbued with the abilities of Z Warriors who can do effectively anything. And you still, even when you've got that power activated, you still feel powerless. The movement's still rubbish. I hadn't experienced the camera thing, but you've obviously cited that as well. Like I don't feel empowered.
Yeah,
I don't feel able.
You feel super vulnerable all the time.
Yeah. which I guess like is kind of a feeling also with those other titles, but
Yeah.
it's more so here because you feel like not only is the heightened ability of your opponent there, but also the game is pushing back on you. Like the game's mechanics, the game systems are pushing back against you, as well as this overpowered character.
I feel that the other titles that are similar in this genre give you that ability, like you feel like you have the ability to outplay the person who's chasing you.
Yeah,
Whereas in this, most of the times you start off and you cannot fly. You can only run and jump and dodge roll. Whereas a lot of these characters can fly from the a lot of the raiders can fly from the beginning.
yeah,
So they're already just way more mobile than you are. Can cover a lot. Can cover more distance than you can. And there's those extra pings of every time you find a key or try and power up something. It's like, hey, here I am, and you've got to try and
get away as fast as you can.
get away as fast as you can. And in those in games like this, it does really rely on teamwork, and because it's a beta and everyone's doing their own thing, there's just none.
Yeah, yeah. Look,
There's just none
that
at the
is a
moment.
variable in the mix that probably won't be there when people can party up properly in
Yeah,
the future. But yeah, I mean, like, and when you do escape, and even if you feel like you've gotten a decent enough head start to maybe evade them, like, I mean, it depends on the level. Is we've got a couple different, two different levels that we can try out initially. Yeah. But a lot of those, like, you might run it like, there's a cave, great, I'll duck through that, and it's a dead end. You're like,
I did that.
sweet,
Oh, there's a
thanks.
building. I'm gonna go in the building, and then he blew the building up. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got no cover anymore.
For me, it was like I ran into a cave, dead end, turn around, freezers arrived, my life is over. It's documented for everyone to watch. Go check it out. Great content. Like there's others that I came across while I was exploring before I was discovered that like there is kind of a little bit of a network there, and you can pop in and out, but like there should be more of that.
Yeah,
Where maybe there is a degree of luck at that point where you go in one way and you hang left, freezer goes in, follows you, they go right, great, you dodge the bullet. If they go left, you better keep running. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like that sort of thing is, I think, the right sort of feeling there. Where, you know, if I can shake them off, awesome. If I can't, just keep going, scramble until you survive. But to run into a dead end almost immediately is just not as satisfying. And, you know, upon reflection and looking at more of them in subsequent matches before I was found, a lot of dead ends. I'm like, oh, this is not, like, that balance is not right. I'm not again empowered to be able to, again, not kick their ass, but just have the ability to survive the day.
yeah. The character customization is fairly lackluster as well. So when you boot it up, it's body type A or body type B, and
Which is
then
fine. That's
it's
fine.
And then essentially it's whose hair from the anime do you want? You just pick whose hair you want. You pick their eyes, you pick their eyebrows, and then that's pretty much it.
Off you go.
You get a couple of choices of essential voice actors or different voice styles, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's just a crap load of cosmetics that are purchasable and unlockable in the game.
I'm going to try and squeeze everything out of us. Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I guess for the sake of when I was first kind of messing around with that, I was on camera. I didn't spend as much time lingering through the character customization as perhaps you have. But yeah, my first splash was like, okay, cool. Like there's a lot of options here. But then scrolling through, I'm like, oh, that's Gohan's hair here. That's Gohan's here from this era. There's Goku. There's Vegito. I see all these.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it was.
Which was a bit of a letdown. There was a few different ones for the most part, but yeah, the overwhelming number were all tried and true and copied pasted from probably Xenoverse when they used the assets there. Because that's kind of the thing to keep in mind as well, as this is kind of connected to the Xenoverse games apparently.
Yeah, apparently it takes place in the same universe as the Xenoverse games.
But you wouldn't really know it. It really doesn't matter, I think, in this particular case. So, yeah, I mean, we're feeling overly harsh. I'm feeling overly harsh so far. We've both kind of been overly harsh, but I mean, is there anything that particularly stuck out to you that you are feeling a bit bullish about? I mean, we are both Dragon Ball fans at our core, ignoring this game. So, I mean, was there anything there that was sticking out to you at all?
Honestly,
this could go very well for Bandai-Namco here in this moment, or very badly. But
it's like I said earlier, in a game like this that's so heavily revolving around co-op play, it's so hard to really judge it on its gameplay when you're playing solo,
Yeah.
and everyone's kind of playing for themselves. Like you really do need that cooperative team play, or at least
Even one person.
some form of voice. Yeah, even like literally just one person watching your back can make all the difference. You know, piggybacking revives on each other, and you know, obviously, you know, this is a
Yeah, because
very
we couldn't
early
get together
look.
to play, so
It's
the game's out in
it,
October.
yeah, mid-October. So, you know, there's still room. Obviously, we've seen we you know, we know the three raiders being Cell, Freezer, and Boo.
Yep.
I've only ever done Cell games. I haven't played with any other raider, so I don't know how the other raiders work.
Yeah, right.
That's
Okay.
um and yeah, it's just I hope there's something more in it. Like I either hope that they add like maybe other ways to other forms of ways to escape, or if they add more raiders in, because and obviously more maps, as we only had access to two at the moment, because otherwise this game would get stale very quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think there's some balancing stuff as well. I mean, you've already cited it, but things like the amount of time that it takes to insert the key, for example, let alone the fact that then you lit up like a neon sign afterwards. The fact that like there was there was two things in the game that I can't, it's skipping me what the second thing was, where it took an eternity. We were just holding down triangle, and for a moment I thought, because they kind of had a prompt there that was gesturing to press it. This was during the prologue. I'm like, oh great, I meant to mash it. That'll make things go faster. So I let go to start mashing.
I think it was reviving some.
Yeah,
Like
it might have been. Yeah, it might have been the revive.
one of
That's
the
right.
allies.
And I was like, the prompt was there, and it looked like I mean, in the end, it was a prompt just to say press the button down, but it kind of kept going. So I was like, oh great, you're implying that I can mash my way through this. So, so I let go to start mashing through it, and I had to start the whole thing again. So oh great, 10 seconds until like. But I mean, obviously that was funny sort of scenario. But yeah, this was just like that side of things is not. It's not fun. It's
No.
And there's already enough conspiring against you in this thing. Like, you don't need to sit there in broad daylight for that long.
I mean, the other games that play like this kind of do that situation a little bit better, where they make those things in particular into mini games. It's like, hey, if you hit the corresponding button at the perfect time, you get extra progress on the task that you're doing.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
just adding something in, so you're not sitting there for 10 seconds holding a single button down, not being able to move, not being able to do anything else. It kind of keeps that engagement up as well.
Agreed.
And it gives you that risk reward of you can go for it and try and get it done faster, but then it could backfire.
It could blow up in your face, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of, if there was a bit more of a risk reward to the whole thing, I could get around that. And otherwise, at the moment, like, if you want to survive in that instance where you're trying to insert the key, it's really just a matter of you just hope that the villain is on the other side of the map at the time. Like, that's all it is. And
the one good thing is, though, so each, as we mentioned before, each area has its own defined key to put in that place. But once one of the survivors finds it, any survivor can activate it. That was one thing that was really good. So even if you never find a key, you can still be useful in the key's been found. You can instantly put it into the place that it needs to be put into.
If you happen to be there.
If you happen to be nearby, yeah. So that in that sense, it's good. But
that's kind of handy.
It
and not something that I'd actually encountered in my couple games. It just worked out, like, when I'd found a key, I was then the first person to get there, so I just inserted and off I went. But
yeah.
So I guess that's a handy perk that I wasn't aware of. But I guess still doesn't alleviate the main issue. Like, you're stuck in the sun for quite a long time. And I found towards the end, as a few people dropped off, and so again, all my matches were against Freezer. But like towards the end, and there's only 2 or 3 people left, and they like the player, assuming the role of Freezer, knows what it is you need to do. Either the time machine is there and you need to go for it, or there's one more key, it's in this region. And they just sit there and they just wait. And you have to come out.
And the more survivors that die, the stronger the raider becomes.
Yeah.
So it only gets harder as it progresses. So it's
Yeah, the balancing is not right, unfortunately. I don't know. I mean, October 14th is the supposed release date. I hope it's not October 14. I hope it gets some more time. That's I don't know. I think it might be the first preview or review discussion style thing that I've been overly negative about a game for.
I mean, I guess it depends
hope they give it more
on
time.
how early of a build this was compared to what they're working on now.
True.
So, you know, a lot of things could have changed already, and you do get that pop up when you boot it up. It's like, hey, this work in progress is going to be changed, yada yada yada. So
Change a lot.
yeah.
Starting with the release date. But anyway, any other thoughts on the Breakers at all?
Yeah, no, I think I covered everything. It's
yeah, I think we have to. There's
I don't know if the IP is enough to win me over, which is a real shame.
That was kind of what I was hoping. Knowing the sort of game it was, I was banking on the IP and maybe some of those elements that I was comfortable with getting me over the line. But yeah, despite all that, it's not playing in a way that's enjoyable whatsoever. And again, not because it's that sort of model of game, but because the execution is poor.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're right about it being such an early build that maybe a lot of this has been refined and tweaked already. And otherwise, if that's the case, hopefully they push it back and they go back to the drawing board and fix a few of these things going forward.
Yeah, balance is a really, really important issue in asymmetrical games. Like you have to feel equally as powerful.
It's a really tight rope to walk, and
yeah,
they're not even on the rope.
Yeah,
unfortunately, which is sad.
Yeah,
we'll wrap things up there. Max, thanks for coming aboard to talk all about Dragon Ball: The Breakers.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully, if we find ourselves talking about this game in the future, hopefully we're talking far more positively about it. I like you. I mean, with our love of the IP, I want this to be great.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to give it a lot of my time. So hopefully we can kind of sort out some of these concerns that we've got, and the game will be better off for it, mate. As we speak, you've just recently wrapped up your own show for the players, the PopCulturist PlayStation podcast. Where can people go to check out all of your stuff?
So you can catch our audio format on Spotify and podcast services, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, under For the Players, as you said. Or you can see my lovely face on YouTube at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning at youtube.com/thepopculturist.
Awesome. What else what else is to come? There's games that you're playing or anything that you're keen to talk about in upcoming episodes?
I mean,
you're going to be jumping on the Cult of the Lamb bandwagon?
Oh, I'm so keen for Cult of the Lamb. I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles 3 earlier this week. Haven't even had a chance to pick it up. No. Every time I pick up my Switch, my kid comes and she's like, "My turn?"
Same deal for me, mate.
Not your turn, my turn. So yeah, it's finding time at the moment. The work-home balance is pretty crazy.
We'll get there. We'll find a way. Eventually. Maybe not for Xenoblade. Not all 100 hours of that bad boy.
Yeah, that's it.
Cult of the Lamb, get me in.
Yeah, I'm super keen for Cult of the Lamb. Ryan, for some reason, not so much.
He'll join the cult at some point. He'll be one of us soon. One of us. Anyway, on the Player 2 side, make sure to subscribe for more review discussions, Player 2 plays, patched, a whole bunch more on the YouTube side. Visit the website, player2.net.au. And there's Twitter as well, which, Max, is above your head, but anyone listening on audio feeds, where can and should they go?
On Twitter, I am at BPossess101, and that's pretty much all the socials I use these days.
Awesome. Twitter's the best platform, so go catch Max there. Paul James Games for myself. The website is Player2AU. Again, Max, thanks for coming aboard, mate.
Not a problem anytime.
And instant transmission me away from this game.